About time, Jim.
Dramatic entry.
Yeah, everything. Hey,
Okay, Shannon, we're good?
We are good.
Just doing what was asked of me.
Okay, I would like to call the October 14th, 2021 Development Commission meeting to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, that wonderful flag out there in the courtyard. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. You. Okay, first order of business is we need to have a voice vote to table the request for applicant number 9. So, all the, need a motion, okay, second?
second.
All those in favor of tabling number 9? Aye. Okay, case number 9 is hereby tabled. Now we'll go to the agenda. Case number 1, Z21-064, 725 Bellows Ave.
1.63 acre site developed with a former school building that has been converted into an office building. Also, two limited commercial buildings. The requested LARO, limited apartment office district, and the existing office building, 1,150 square feet of office space on the lower level, 27 apartment units on the upper level, with an additional 11 residential units to be constructed on the site. The site is surrounded by single-unit dwellings and undeveloped lots in R4 residential district in the north, left, and south. State Route 315 limits the site to the east. The site is within the boundaries of the planning area of the West Franklinton plan, which recommends medium-high density mixed residential at this location. Additionally, the plan includes adoption of Columbus citywide planning policies. Limitation text includes building and funding setbacks, minimum parking requirements, and a commitment to develop the site in accordance with the attached site plan. The site plan has been redesigned to incorporate the planning division's initial comments, including locating dwellings at the northwest corner of the site, keeping the parking behind buildings, and adding street trees and ample bicycle parking. Staff has also reviewed the conceptual building elevations, which are consistent with the CT design guidelines. Concurrent CB 21-080 proposes a use variance for the 3 single-unit dwellings and includes standard variances for reduced building lines and perimeter yard and increased building height for the existing building. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this development. The site is located within the boundaries of the Franklinton Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The requested LARO, limited apartment residential district, will allow a mixed development, including 10,250 square feet of office space, 35 apartment units, and 3 single-unit dwellings that is compatible with land use recommendation of West Franklinton. Additionally, planning division staff finds the site plan and conceptual elevations to meet design guidelines. The request is consistent with recent infill development in the area. Therefore, staff recommendation is for approval, and I would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for Shannon?
Well, yeah, I have a question for you, Shannon, and this is because it's not to do with the proposal so much as a question. Is there any sidewalk pedestrian type access to Dodge Park? Or is just those highways preventing any kind of ease of access?
I don't think there is.
That's a crime. I'm just, you now have all this residential and there is no way for them to really easily get to Dodge Park.
There is an intent to utilize some of the roadways around here and use the surface roads to get over there. The complication that we have at this point in time is that there are future improvements to the highways
Of course.
that are going to impact where the sidewalks go. So there's long-term planning, but it doesn't necessarily include exactly what we're doing today.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Priorities are always.
Any traffic issues here, Dan?
As noted in the site plan, additional right-of-way dedication along the alley west of the site is being provided, and with site development, that alley will need to be widened to the maximum extent feasible within that new right of way to accommodate two-way traffic.
Okay. And planning concerns?
No further comments?
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number one, other than the applicant? Okay, you have staff approval and area commission approval. Is there anything you'd like to add to the staff presentation?
You need to swear me in.
No, just give your name for the record.
Julie Gola. I just would like to clarify, it was permitted, we have a building permit to do office space, but it's not really, it's under construction, it's not office right now. And that's the reason we're coming here, is we just could not get a tenant for almost 40,000 square feet office space. So the neighborhood commission was really happy with the mixed use we're proposing, townhouses, single family apartments, studios, 1 and 2 bedrooms. So that was kind of the intent. We did look at the path, but we're kind of limited by ODOT basically. So we've tried to create some pedestrian access through the site, but we're not able to do anything along. And the building's kind of, it's already in their setback, actually. They couldn't think about that, so. That's basically it.
Yes,
And this is just an observation. I don't know what C2P2 says about parking lot planting, but if I look at the parking lot, can I make a suggestion? We can add some trees to help reduce the heat island in that area.
And we're providing all the required trees for the guidelines. Is that what you're asking for in
Yeah,
the
but
parking
when I
lot
look at
itself?
when I look at the site plan, it really looks, yeah. So,
Only one tree per time.
but then I thought,
So,
yeah.
if you found it in your heart to relocate a tree that's on the boundary over into a diamond, doesn't wipe out any parking spaces, that would be effective and still keep you from becoming Johnny Appleseed.
Help it from radiating.
I don't think we can force you to do that. Okay, I think we need to call the roll and move the agenda.
Yes.
Amanda Golden.
Yes.
John Morrison.
Yes.
Sam Woodward.
Yes.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you.
Case number 2. Okay, I was looking for the wrong name here. Z21-06786 North Yale.
The requested AR1 apartment residential North, south, and west of the site are single-unit dwellings in the R4 residential. East of the site is railroad right-of-way and the M manufacturing. The site is located within the planning area of the west, which recommends medium to high-density mixed residential. Additionally, the plan includes early adoption of Columbus citywide planning policy design guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the Franklinton Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The current CV 21-082 has been filed to review lot area requirements, building lines, urban yard, and the parking space reduction from the required spaces for 14 provided spaces. That request will be heard by city council and will not be considered at this time. Requested AR1 apartment residential district will permit a multi-unit residential development. Although the allowable density exceeds the recommendations of the West Franklinton plan, staff supports the request due to the high-quality site design included in the site plan submitted to and concurrent CV 21-082, which is consistent with the plan and C2P2 design guidelines. The request does not represent the introduction of an incompatible use to the surrounding neighborhood. Therefore, city department's recommendation is for approval, and I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions? Okay, Kathy
We have no comments at this time.
and Dan, any traffic issues here?
No traffic.
Okay, planning? Okay, you have staff approval and area commission approval. Give us your name for the record and any comments you'd like to add.
David Hod, attorney for the applicant. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we won't ask him. Please call the roll.
Amanda Golden.
Yes.
John Ingwerson.
Yes.
Yes.
Maria Conroy.
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved. Okay, case number 3, Z21-042, 1179 East Main Street.
The 1.59 acre site consists of one parcel developed with a former supermarket predominantly zoned in the Suburban District, with a small portion of the site zoned in the R3 residential district that contains the site's dumpster facility. Requested AR2 apartment residential district site with residential. To the north of the site is the City of Columbus Health Clinic and C4 Community District. The east are retail building and C4 Community District and single and two-unit dwellings and undeveloped lots in the R3. To the south across East Elm Street is a single-unit dwelling in the R3 residential district. The west are undeveloped land and a 4-unit dwelling in the C4 Commercial District and a mix of dwelling types and undeveloped land in the 3 residential districts. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Near East Area Plan, which recommends higher density residential mixed use land uses for this location. The site is also within the urban commercial overlay, but those standards are not triggered for residential development. Concurrent CD 21-057 proposes a 4-story, 85-unit apartment building with variances for a purple space reduction from 128 spaces to 108 spaces and reduced building lines. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this development commission meeting. The Planning Division generally supports the proposed site plan included with CD 21-057, which displays landscaping and includes additional bicycle parking for offset the requested reduction. Staff continues to encourage the southernmost row of parking be removed, but is not conditioning support of this revision. Staff also encourages the inclusion of street wood avenue frontage if feasible, and conceptual building elevations have been reviewed. The site is within the boundaries of the Near East Area Commission, who recommends district. The requested AR2 apartment residential district will allow multi-unit residential development that is compatible with the density recommendations of the Near East Area Plan. The request is consistent with recent development proposals in this area. Therefore, staff's recommendation is for approval, and I would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Questions? John?
Just the parking that's along the southeast side of this, is that, it looks like there's a planting buffer and a wall, but is that against building or is that a vacant lot?
Vacant lot.
Says Summerfield Homes LLC. So it's just an empty lot at the moment.
That's the owner, but it's a vacant lot, yes.
Okay, and it's the same owner? Or different? Is that that's not your property that you're rezoning?
It is not part of the rezone.
Okay,
And not the same owner.
right.
Okay, Kathy? Dan?
No draft.
And Planning Commission?
No additional.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding application number 3 today? No one's here to speak. Dave, you want to add anything to your presentation?
Sure, just Dave Perry here as agent for the applicant and with the LLC.
Okay,
On the, Mr. Anderson, on the parking that was used for the dumpster area and outside storage for Save a Lot. And we've designed the parking to have the stalls directly off the alley and 9 feet of buffering and fencing. If there ever is a building, if there ever is a new building. The parking's important to the project.
Yeah. And then are you, I'm assuming black squares that's site lighting?
Site lighting, yes.
Yeah, again, I live in the neighborhood, so just security concerns and that kind of distance of the parking from the actual building seems like, yeah, you got to make your parking numbers, but seems a little vestige, like a little bit of a vestige rather than. But I applaud your development. I think it's
Sure.
going to help.
Yeah, those site lights are 40 feet apart max, and they should be able to,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Deter.
the heights, the things that kept low. So, the Dairy Area Commission is just saying, this commission knows from all the projects it's seen, but the Dairy Area Commission is just seeing a renaissance in new construction. And this is a fabulous project with a new four-story building pulled up to the street when the grocery store was built 20 years ago.
Oh.
You know,
That was
it
challenging.
wasn't what it is today.
Challenge site. Yeah. Right.
okay, with those, discussion points, please call the roll.
Yes.
Ken Mofle,
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved. Okay, I'm gonna call case number 4, but I have to abstain. So case number 4 is next. Z20, go ahead, John, take
Yeah,
it.
Z21-070, 250 Taylor Station Road. Yeah.
In your supplemental packet is a revised traffic speed limit change and added to the traffic amendments regarding the right of way dedication. The 77.09 acre site consists of one undeveloped parcel in the LM Limited Manufacturing District, which permits less actionable manufacturing uses. The request proposes a 7.19 acre LP limited a 16.76 acre LARLP limited apartment residential district development. 2 LM limited manufacturing district parcels totaling 27.41 acres, actionable manufacturing and accessory office uses, and a 12.3 acre LM limited manufacturing district parcel manufacturing and office. Proposal also includes right of way for an east-west public street and a 1.99 acre private road, which will be designated in the LM limited. To the north are single and multi-unit residential developments and 3D8 planned unit development. To the east is industrial development in the M2 manufacturing. To the south is mixed commercial development and a senior housing facility in the CPD commercial plan development. To the west across Taylor Station Road is office and industrial development in the M2 manufacturing district. The site surrounds one parcel in the LM limited manufacturing district pending zoning to the CPD commercial plan. The site is located within the boundaries of the product use land use plan, which recommends employment center land uses at this location and classification from different type uses, including office uses. Additionally, the plan includes Additionally, the plan includes complete adoption of the citywide planning policy design guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the park and the area commission to recommendation. The limitation text includes use restrictions and supplemental development standards that address building height, building and street trees, walking paths, screening, and lighting control. The text also includes a commitment to develop the site in accordance with the site plan, which reflects the parcel layout and setbacks, the new public and private streets, trees, perimeter, landscaping, and pedestrian activities. At this time this report was finalized, materials were still needed for review by the Division of Traffic Management to ensure that right-of-way dedication of the G8 and center line of Taylor Street was provided. A planned public-private partnership project is in progress that would construct public streets through the site. The traffic impact study requirement for this application is being satisfied with the traffic study that is in progress for that project, which is being completed separately from the zone. The requested LC2 limited commercial, LARLD limited apartment residential, and LM limited manufacturing districts will allow office, multi-unit residential, and industrial development that is consistent with the surrounding development and that meets the intent of the land use application. Planning Division staff continues to encourage a more detailed site plan and elevations be shared. based on consistency with the plan deployment system land use recommendation, as well as consistency with previously reviewed conceptual site plans and the support by the Economic Development Division. Staff's recommendation is for approval.
Questions? Parks,
We have no additional comments.
traffic,
We have everything.
planning? That's good. Planning is good. David, do you have anything to add? You've got staff approval, area commission approval, 3.
Any speakers?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anyone here to speak on this case? No. Okay. Again, Dave, do you have anything to add?
Just for the record, Dave Perry here as agent for Alford and for Trident Capital. This is the former Lucent site, and this zoning is effectively a down zoning. The current LM does not permit partial uses, meaning office, which is parcel A, but it permits all less and more objectionable manufacturing uses. So this is adding an office component, adding a residential component, and limiting the industrial to less objectionable.
The only note I've got is that somewhere traffic had a deadhead named some of the streets here. They got their licks in somehow with Shakedown Street, Casey Jones Place.
You close attention to detail.
I need a motion to add the October 12th revised text. Second. I believe we can call the roll.
Dan Woodway,
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
Chair Ingwerson.
Yes, you are approved.
We might
And-
need to wait minutes
What?
just because our next agenda starts at 5.
David, is part of this project removing that enormous electrical substation that used to be in that Lucent office building?
So complete redevelopment.
And that was a monster. And
So nobody's gonna be around to continue the servicing of the Lucent home. But
I think they're on a different format. Okay, so we have to wait until,
Right.
one of those little
Better than that.
tidbits that
When
fail
we
the
are-
student. Right.
It's hard. He does never know how frequent some of these are gonna.
Yeah, exactly. We can do this now. with all the Wi-Fi and all. Oh. What?
It was illegal.
Oh, it's fine.
Good job and land out, all of you. 613.
You could front end load it and put too many up front so that we just bleed over.
That's true.
Granted, it's kind of
And
like-
I thought
Burns.
about it, but honestly thought.
But you know, the pedestrian path every 3 feet.
Stupid.
And that seems to work, the one that goes to Whetstone, and that's used quite regularly. I just look at having.
you're just too
such a-
efficient, too effective.
That was a block mark on our history
Right.
anyway. Let's put highways straight through.
David answers all our questions ahead of time.
Saying it was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh, when I was listening to this, so therefore, he didn't borrow a flight back to home. Which I might.
Yeah.
Today we
I might
have
put
this.
that-
Right, I don't know.
Did you go northwest or north?
Well, in high ground, you know.
Northwest, or East Bay?
Part of leaving
Madrid.
Franklinton.
No,
is also high ground.
So as soon as we landed.
But yeah, I just, I just, to look at
We ran.
Columbus was
We didn't get there until like 8.
looking at what, 71, out of it.
Well, you can go back another time. You always got to leave one.
315, I don't know how bad. I don't know much of the history.
This is perfect round this. Putting the last steps in.
I mean,
As
you
a
know.
slanted block and it's like.
Well, then,
Put a 2x4 on the block. He goes, you want it?
But it's
thick
one of
or-"
those things.
Yes.
Right, you want to go from A to B, straight line, and the cheapest land. Well, and let's ignore that. Community development. And, that's, that part of it wasn't part of the equation, whether it was overt or subvert, I don't know. Well, I do know, but that the idea of, that left a huge scar. And now we've, you know, separated these communities. And now we have 6 lanes of highway separating a residential area from parkland.
Yeah.
Neighborhood, from- yeah, yeah.
What's
We have that. It's literally the same.
Maybe it's. And 9 is paved.
The Sullivan Garden.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would have made.
Well, Milo Brogan area.
As well.
I mean, it's just, I mean, that was just a catastrophe. Let's bring up the unity with manufacturing and then we'll throw a highway. So that sounds good. Right, no one that matters. Right, no, it's.
They're keeping the historic.
Jerry.
Well, I mean, he's been running so long. You notice that people in TV were listening. They're speculating, you know, and all the speculative logic is going to happen. I'm sorry to be university.
Lit up.
Then it got a little bit more, you know, Milo was starting to get a little bit more attention. They're not in place. And now they've got roads, just painted, so fire, but you can't move on. Although, well, I don't know, there are parts that you can abandon them, so. No, yeah, I mean, when we started the conversation about bringing down.
Okay, we're going to resume the agenda. Case number 5, Z21-068. 2970 to 2990 Woodson Drive.
It is a letter of support from the owners of the single unit dwellings. The site is developed with a single unit dwelling in the R1 residential district. Applicant proposes the M2 manufacturing district for the expansion of an open RV storage business. The north of the site is undeveloped land in the M2 manufacturing district. To the south, the single unit dwelling in the R1 residential district. To the east, the site is an open RV storage business in the M2 manufacturing district. The west is Interstate 270. Concurrent CB 21-083 and file to reduce zone setback and open storage of material. The site plan included with the council variance is still being considered by staff and is subject to change. That request will be heard by city council and will not be considered at this development commission meeting. The site is within the boundaries of the Treeview Roberts area plan, which recommends light industrial land use at this location. The plan also states that screening and buffering are important elements of the development and safety. Screening between incompatible land uses is particularly important, especially between industrial uses, existing or planned residential uses. The site is located within the boundaries of the West Scioto Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The requested M2 manufacturing district will allow a self-storage facility that is compatible with the development standards of the adjacent self-storage facility. Proposals also consistent with the land use recommendations of the Treeview Roberts area. Therefore, city department's recommendation is for approval and happy answer.
Okay, Kathy? Dan,
No traffic issues.
and traffic. I mean,
Wait, you're good.
planning. I want to call. Would you like to get a job?
Planning is in support.
Yeah.
We had some concerns about the.
You're good? Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 5? Nobody is here. You have staff approval and area commission approval.
Thank you. Dave Perry here as agent for Dennis and Kathy Hecker, the owners of these RV and boat storage. This is the third time help the Heckers as they acquired additional acreage as it became available. This expansion involves 3-acre area of R1 property from annexation that almost all of what was annexed years ago has been converted to MLM2. This is the third expansion of the boat storage. The M2 request is consistent with the previous two and with most of the zoning in the area.
Okay. With no further ado, please call the roll.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Nickerson,
Yes.
Taya Mokwe,
Yes.
and Tara Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you're approved. Okay, case number 6, Z21-054, 1205 Chesapeake Avenue.
Here, the packet for you there, they, whether they received today. I also received another email about 30 minutes ago, but I didn't get a chance to get that to you guys. But it will, The 1.47 acre site consists of 3 parcels, developed with office warehouse buildings. The western parcel is in the M2 manufacturing district, while the other 2 parcels are currently undergoing annexation in Clinton Township, which will result in the assignment of the R rural district. North of the site is a multi-unit residential development in the AR3 apartment residential district. South of the site is multi-unit residential development in the AR1 apartment residential district and a 2-unit dwelling in the R4 residential district. East of the site is an industrial commercial building in the LI limited industrial district within the township. And west of the site is a commercial building in the ARLT apartment residential district as a result of annexation. And current council variance CB 21.071 has been filed and includes variances to building height, lot coverage, building lines, rear yard, manufactured for maneuvering, and parking space. That request will be heard by city council will not be considered development commission meeting. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Fifth by Northwest neighborhood plan, which recommends mixed use land uses at this location. The site is also subject to Columbus citywide planning policy. The site is located within the boundaries of the Fifth by Northwest Area Commission, whose recommendation for the rezoning request is for approval. But will need to reconsider concurrent CB 21-071. The requested AR3 apartment residential district and a multi-unit residential development. Proposed AR3 district at this location is comparable with the land use recommendation of the Fifth by Northwest neighborhood planning for mixed use development at this location. Additionally, the request is consistent with both the established development and zoning pattern along Chambers Road and with new residential developments in urban neighborhoods, and therefore the city department is recommending.
Okay, any questions? Okay, recreation and parks. No comment. Traffic
All traffic issues have been resolved.
and planning.
Final details to be resolved in the CD.
So far, so good. Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding this application tonight, case number 6? Okay, no one here to oppose. You have staff approval and area commission approval. Anything you want to add to the
Yeah,
presentation?
I'll be very brief. David Hodge, attorney for the applicant. We had a series of meetings with the Fifth by Northwest Area Commission such that they were comfortable recommending approval of the rezoning. Certainly when it comes to recreation and parks, we'll have the parkland dedication ordinance that we'll have to comply with, write a check to go towards park fund for parkland acquisition, et cetera. In terms of traffic management, they kind of drug us along kicking and screaming on what they wanted us to do, but ultimately they won. And so we modified the building to accommodate their request. Worked also very hard with Christopher Lord, the folks in the planning, to tweak around the architecture such that they're here tonight comfortable supporting the proposal. I'm grateful for the city staff recommendation of approval. It's a great project. You can see from the aerial photograph that's on the screen now, it's consistent with some of the development that's in the immediate area. For Living is the developer here. They've done a couple of other projects right here immediately. So this is more along those lines and really a great project from a planning perspective, from an aesthetic perspective, and moving in the right direction. There is an abatement in this neighborhood. This will provide an element of affordable housing. So it's really a great project. And, Joe Sullivan is here, tremendous architect, but Joe doesn't need to speak. Unless there are any aesthetic questions that Joe needs to answer.
Questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Hannah Golden.
Yes.
John A. Murphy.
Yes.
Cameron Way.
Yes.
Maria Conroy.
Yes. Do we need to do anything about like reading this to or it just gets included in? Okay, good.
And Chairman Patrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, case number 7, Z21-062, 2510 Bethel Road.
The site is developed in form of bank and is CPD's commercial plan development district. Applicant requesting the CPD commercial plan development district to commit an automatic car wash. The north and west of the site is commercial shopping center and the CPD commercial plan development district. The south is Rock Bethel Road, the regional store and the Kelsey Tour, and the commercial district, the single unit dwelling and catering project. The east is a multi-unit residential development in the LAR 12 limited apartment residential district. The site is subject to the Bethel Road Regional Commercial Overlay and is located within the boundaries of the Northwest Plan, which recommends mixed-use one needed for this location. Parking section of the plan states that parking lots should be provided to the rear of buildings. Additionally, any parking lots that butt roadways should be set back a minimum of 25 feet. All parking lots visible from roadways should be screened with a minimum of 3-foot high continuous wall or hedge, and reaching the minimum 75% opacity within 5 years. The site is located within the boundaries of the Northwest Civic Association, whose recommendation is for disapproval. Development text. The basic site plan and landscape plan and includes development standards addressing setbacks, access, building design, and graphic provisions. Modifications to code standards to not provide an exclusive bypass lane and to have the dumpster located in the northeast corner of the property, rather than behind the principal building, are included in this request. The requested CPD commercial plan development district allows automatic car wash development that is compatible with the adjacent commercial development. The site plan also includes additional landscaping, screening, and street trees consistent with the parking and screening recommendations of Northwest. The department's recommendation is for approval, and I'll be happy to answer.
I don't see any questions. Oh, Kathy? Okay,
All traffic issues.
Krista. Okay, is the applicant here? Is anyone here to speak regarding this application? Okay, we have one speaker. Let's hear from the speaker first, and then we'll answer all the questions at once. Please come forward. Give your name for the record and tell us what is on your mind.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Amanda Gibbs, and I am here to speak against the 2510 Bethel Road development as the Vice President and Trustee of the Northwest Civic Association. At our meeting in August, the board heard the proposed new plan in the southeast corner of Carriage Place. The board overwhelmingly voted to disapprove the zoning request. Currently in Northwest Columbus, we have the Moo Moo Car Wash on Henderson, as well as the newly approved by the NWCA and the city car wash on 161 and Martin Road, as well as 6 other car washes in the immediate area. The proposed need does not fit the Northwest area. And additionally, there were many other concerns about traffic and safety on that corner. For those who aren't familiar with it, that southwest corner of Carriage Place, turning into, it's a very busy area, a lot of people go down Pickford to turn into that area. So the key points for disapproval were the Northwest Civic Association trustees and community attendees were strongly against the use of this property. Car wash in that corner does not fit the feel of the Northwest area, and does not align with the city of Columbus's goal to make the city more pedestrian friendly. And then lastly, there's a bus stop right there on Pickford as well, where usually buses stack. There's a couple, often multiple times a day, there's multiple buses there. So turning in and out is already a high traffic area. So we think adding a high traffic car wash there would also aid in that. So in closing, it's a desire of the Northwest Civic Association and our members that this zoning request be denied. I do also have a statement that I think was provided to you from the president of the Civic Association. I'm happy to read that, or if you guys have read it, then I have word this. Did you see? Go ahead.
Briefly tell us what you've got so it's on the record.
Okay, so from our president, it was, as a resident of Northwest Columbus, I'm concerned about the proposed development of a car wash at the location of Bethel Road. According to the recent Link Us Northwest Corridor Mobility Study, Bethel Road is projected to be part of the rapid transit corridor, which I'm sure you're aware of, stretching from downtown up to the Old Tangent River Road, from west on Bethel and then north on Salt Inlet to Dublin. So right now, the area is very car-centric, with many shopping centers and big parking lots along Bethel and Sawmill. The area where the car wash is being proposed to go already has a newly built auto body shop. That's where it is, but it's a couple spaces down from there. And then the renovated Shell gas station nearby. And then none of these businesses are pedestrian friendly. So it is her fear that the development, that if we approve this, it's just not going to be a great fit for the Northwest area.
Okay, thank you for your comments. We'll bring that up.
Thank you.
Okay, the applicant. Give both your names for the record. Okay.
We also have our engineer here in case.
All right.
It's from him. Thank you to staff for the presentation of the staff report. We wanted to address the recommendation of denial. It reiterated what we heard at the meeting was that they didn't want to see any auto-oriented use at this site. And I live 5 minutes from the site. I travel down Bethel, so I understand where they're coming from. And we definitely respect all the time and effort that they put into reviewing these applications. We just wanted to start with that. But all that being said, the proposed car wash use is consistent with the recommendation for the use of this site that's in the Northwest Area Plan. It's mixed use 1, which is the commercial designation, and the plan indicates that it could be a combination of residential and commercial or just a single use like we're proposing. And like was stated, it is consistent with the existing development that is along Bethel Road in front of the Walmart. So the other outlots are primarily restaurants and auto-oriented uses, and our use, we're aware it is a car-oriented use. We can't change that, but we've done everything that we can in order to make sure that our project includes aspects that are pedestrian friendly. So those would be widening the sidewalk that's existing along Pickford Drive. It's currently 4 feet, we're moving it up to 7 feet. We're creating a pedestrian connection from the existing sidewalk on Bethel to our site, so that any employees that are traveling on foot could be able to access the site more easily. We're installing street trees and landscaping in excess of what's required by code to try and just improve that experience along both frontages. And then we're dedicating an additional 20 feet of right of way along Bethel, which is significant because as the study was referenced, that mobility study, if the city chose to do bike or pedestrian or bus rapid transit along Bethel, that would give additional space for that to happen. So that's with respect to the use. And then with regards to the traffic comment that was brought up about the bus stop that's further north on Pickford, we did work with the traffic department to determine that a traffic study wasn't needed. And we worked further to ensure that what we're doing on the site improves the existing situation. So the existing curb cut that is on the easternmost portion of the site is currently in line with the parking that we're showing along the east side. And so we're moving it approximately 50 feet west, further away from Pickford Drive. to ensure that there's more room at that corner. And then with respect to stacking, the code requires 18 spaces for 3 lanes, which is what we have. So we're showing 21 stack spaces and then an additional 6 spaces going into the tunnel, and cars obviously would also be entering and exiting the tunnel. So we're trying to provide, in excess of what's required by code, just to ensure that there isn't an issue with cars stacking outside of our site into the Walmart parking lot. And we've worked with our car wash consultant and our landlord with every iteration of this plan to ensure that it's going to work efficiently for us, our users. That's definitely our priority. And we're trying to just make it as pedestrian friendly as it can be, recognizing that it is a car-oriented use. So any questions that we can answer, like I said, we're here as well as our simple engineer.
One comment, it looks to me like when the cars leave the car wash, they do a 180-degree turn around to the dryer and vacuum stations. And then when they leave those vacuum stations, they have to negotiate back through incoming traffic in order to weave their way to the curb cut.
Right, so that wasn't our initial design, but in hearing the comments from traffic and the concern about the existing exit point on Pickford, we did that in order to move the exit further west so that we could be respectful of traffic that's flowing along that northernmost access way.
Okay. It looks like a struggle.
We had to work very closely with our car wash consultant to make sure that it would be possible. But we understood how important it was to move that existing exit west. So it was a going back and forth with traffic, and we appreciate their coordination there.
What sort of separation are you going to have on the, is it the property line that abuts the existing commercial use next to the incoming stacking lanes?
Are you asking about landscape screening?
Landscape fence, any kind of,
We just have a grass area that we're showing.
and what kind of use is that there?
It is a restaurant.
Yeah. Dairy Queen?
That's a developed piece of, very clean.
Right. There's a whole string of fast food.
Right.
All the way down to Bethel, and it's just, and this was the old PNC bank. It's dark right now.
Okay.
And then the access though, do we have an aerial that shows? Yeah. So your access is really about at the west face of Carriage Place's commercial strip that's running north-south there, right? Right about on the shadow line. Okay.
Just west of the existing palings
Yeah.
for the old bank. Yeah.
It's nice, it maintains the screening along there, but that exit's still kind of weird. I would think that you would have, well, I don't know what your flow rate is, what your standard flow rate is as far as how many you're queuing, but it seems like you've got to cross each other at some point to get, or you're just going to have a right out to Pickford.
Yeah, it's going to be, without something like that, minimize the time elapse. It's going to be a traffic jam will back up into the wash line itself, which is, an elderly person the same age as John would have trouble making that 180 turn. So
Mr. Magoo taught me how to drive, okay? On TV, I watch. It would seem to me that, again, I don't know, your metrics, but it's almost like you wish that this thing could also exit, that you could slide it all over to the east a hair and then your exit would then loop back around your line and go out. And it would be into the depth of the parking lot, and then you wouldn't have any kind of odd situation. There wouldn't be any
I'm gonna
conflict.
assure you, we looked at many different ways.
I'm sure that you have.
Yeah, we,
One of the considerations was, because we actually had the site flipped 180 degrees and we had the tunnel traffic exiting through the vacuums. So then you had your vacuum traffic backing up and then also,
Yeah.
your tunnel traffic coming out. So this was really, again, coordinating with traffic, this was our best scenario.
Yeah.
I think you've taken it as far as it can be taken and still get a car wash on the site, but it comes with a duty to really, like Chick-fil-A, have somebody out there.
and our site will be fully staffed, so if there is an issue, that we have people on site that can.
Yeah, a lot of pylons, yellow paint.
We have considered that, in the case where maybe somebody's, car breaks down and, traffic starts to back up. So the car wash is fully staffed 24/7. If it's open, there is a staff that can come out, on off a lane. That's when the benefit comes from having 3 lanes rather than 2, which is what you have at like a Moo or.
Yeah, so you can turn it around.
Yeah.
All right, I think we know what we need to know to make, oh, we do have speakers? Oh, those alligator arms. Okay, let's have our speakers speak. 3 minutes each. Try not to be redundant.
Oh, she was,
You just like, no.
Sorry, I'm late. We got stuck in trying to get downtown. 5 o'clock's not easy. So I live right across the street in the Bethel Village condo complex. I've lived there for,
Give us your name for the record.
I'm sorry, Randy Boyce. Last name is spelled Boyce. And I did not attend the last meeting. I was unavailable. But I live right across the street, lived there for almost 20 years in the condo complex. Very concerned about this use. Obviously, the noise is one of my concerns. Being so close to a residential community that has a lot of, we have 500 units in that Bethel Village condo complex. And especially in the evening, if you want to have your windows open and they have both traffic and vacuum cleaners going and whatnot, I'm super concerned about that. Just, when I moved in there, I never dreamed in a million years that they would tear down a nice commercial office building that blends right in with the scenery. All those buildings, including the building I'm in, have the stone front siding that all kind of matches. And I don't know if that's gone by the wayside or if that's still part of the code. I never dreamed in a million years they would tear that building out and put a car wash in. Considering when there's already so many car washes of different varieties in such a small radius around that area. That's it.
Okay, let's have our next
Thank you.
speaker.
Good evening. My name is David Corey, spelled Corey, and I've lived in the Bethel Village condos for almost 2 years now. And I'd just like to echo the same concerns about noise. Those vacuum cleaners are going to be facing my front windows. That's all I'm going to ever hear. And the traffic. I don't know. I think you all tried to ask about how many cars they expected. I know that there is a automatic car wash just about a mile away on Henderson, and frequently cars are stacked up all the way back down Henderson Road, trying to get in there. So I'm concerned about the traffic, especially on the weekends on Pittsburgh, interfering with the buses. There's a very busy bus stop right there as well, so. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Monica Tuttle, Tuttle. I'm also a trustee and I'm on the zoning committee for Northwest Civic Association. As you know, we voted unanimously against recommendation of this site development. Looking at the plans, you raised many of the same concerns that we did. Understand that they were trying to utilize the space, but it seems as though we are trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, or at least a square peg into a hole that is too small for that peg. There is not enough room for cars to be able to navigate this comfortably. We have concerns about that, but overall, as my colleague Ms. Gibbs mentioned, this doesn't fit with the vibe that we are going for this part of the community. We are trying to make this more pedestrian friendly. This is a direct affront to that. We are trying to, especially city council and the commission are talking about making this more pedestrian friendly, making this a destination rather than a pass through. And this flies in the face of all of the things that we are trying to do. And so for that reason, we respectfully request that you do not do this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's bring the applicants back. I did a quick calculation here and correct me if my math is wrong, but it looks like the commercial dryers inside the structure are between 250 and 300 feet away from the Bethel Woods, Bethel Village, and the southernmost drying vacuum stations are about 180 to 200 feet away. So you could solve, I don't think the commercial dryers inside the building are going to produce any noise that would be offensive to people across Bethel Road, which is like 7 lanes.
Yeah, the dryers inside of the tunnel are actually set more in than what is standard, but I think your concern is the vacuum.
It's captured. It's captured, and the distance to where they exist is over 200 feet from the community. The dryers that are outside, or vacuum motors that are outside, and the funnel, the intakes, are a little closer, 30 feet closer. And it may suggest that a low stone wall or a low wall with mast that goes parallel with your planting at that corner that would bounce some of that sound from going across Bethel Road would be a step in the right kind of good neighbor fashion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I believe the condos that they're talking about are across Pittsburgh. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're,
They're to the.
I was measuring from the wrong way. Okay, well. The low wall along the Pickford Drive side
Yeah.
would be effective in capturing and absorbing the sound from the vacuum stations. I still don't think that much sound's going to get outside that structure in the actual floor.
Consider that sensitive to that. We do have some sound study data for that. Make sure I don't misspeak. So what we found was that so typical road noise from car traffic is 65 to 70, and ours was study shows the sound levels emanating out from the 2 producers. So our vacuums are different than some others, and that there's 2 sound producing producers, and then all of the individual vacuums are hooked up. Those are the correlators that you see. So the 2 producers would be, one of them is right next to the dumpster, and the other one is right next to the car wash tunnel. You see the 2 rectangles. So the spec sheet that we have shows that it's 50 feet out from the producer, the sound level is 74 decibels.
and Pickford is 100 feet wide, so.
And then there's an interior road to the condo development.
Yeah, right, so.
Okay.
Be close to our observation. And at 50 feet out from the producer, we're at the same level as the road. They would be comparable.
So basically, you're saying the Bethel Road noise would be equivalent to your noise.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
If we went back 18 spots in the queue, how long that last person will be? Because it is a lot of cars. I know it probably seems like they're in line for a long time to come back up. But we're actually moving cars through the tunnel from start to finish in 2 minutes. And there's 4 cars in the tunnel. So that means about every half a minute to a minute, a car is exiting the tunnel. So if you go back to about that 18th spot, they're in line for a maximum of about 9 to 10 minutes. So just to give you a little bit of context on how quickly they're.
And your stacking length is what? Between the drive that's in Carriage Place and your gate, whatever where you pay, the little toll booth thing?
You're saying the distance from the entrance at Carriage to the Haley?
Yeah, from north-south, from north to south, each one of those stacking lanes gets how many cars?
7 currently stacked, so 21 cars stacked from the palings to the entrance to the site.
And then, of course, in front of the paling, you've also got about 5 cars that could fit, entering into the tunnel.
Right, because the 3 come in.
Yeah.
And so it'd be 5.
Yeah.
So 26.
Yeah.
It can handle 26, not including what's going through the.
Right. We tried to design it so that, I understand it's a tight site, but we've had this thing every which way, and this was, the best way that we could maximize as many stacking lanes as we could.
Okay, I think we got the picture. Please call the roll.
I think we're set.
I'm very sensitive to the fact that Northwest does not want a car wash here. However, given the nature of the outlot development and strip centers, I can't see that this is such an odd duck when they have maintained the kind of screening that they're looking for. I think the traffic is a little bit problematic, but I'm sure it's going to work out. And you've got a lot of drive-through stuff going on all the way down to the west. So I'm going to vote kind of a reluctant yes, but I'm voting yes.
Okay.
Detail what John said, so again, reluctantly, I'm going with yes.
Maria Conroy.
I'm gonna take Marty's role. I'm gonna vote no, but it's a reminder though to the folks who are opposed to this is that the decision on the car wash itself is a marketing and economic one by the landowner. That's not our role. We don't decide that use, we decide zoning. And I think I would love for Bethel to look completely different, but I think you'd have to level the entire Carriage Place to get there. And there's too many owners to do that right now. So, but I will vote no to get extra eyes on this.
Amanda Golden. I also am gonna vote no in support of the residents who showed up tonight. I understand their desire to see something different on Bethel, and it has to start somewhere, and I think it's partial, but it does.
Your dispatcher.
And I agree with both John and Kay comments as well. This is a difficult piece of property to deal with. It's got a building that has no lights on right now, and it's located in a difficult access place. And I think it's a needed use, even though there's other uses. It's right there with Walmart, and it's unique for that factor. My vote is strictly on, is it a reasonable land use? And you've dealt with all the hardships and all the difficult factors, and you're still gonna be dealing with them year after you're open. You're gonna have to manage those things. So when this goes to city council, there'll be an information sheet like this that we all fill out. And it will reason why we voted the way we voted. But I'm gonna vote yes. Cognizant that there's a lot of reasons to think negatively, but I am also gonna vote yes because I think it's a reasonable use. You are approved 3-2. And we will move on to case number 8. Z21-066, 4559 Night Ridge Boulevard.
You will see an updated text dated 10/12/2021 that clarifies a modification of the height of existing site. The site consists of one parcel developed with an indoor portion of the building shown in the streets. Constant CPD commercial plan development district will allow the northern commercial building to be demolished and outdoor recreational and sports courts with a seasonal dome. North and west of the site of Class Railroad right of way are multi-unit residential developments in the AR12 and ARLP apartment residential. East of the site is the senior living facility in the development district. South of the site, across Henderson Road, is a multi-unit residential development in the LC4 limited commercial. Site is located area of the Northwest Plan and community commercial. Located within the boundaries of the Civic Association. His recommendation is for approval. The text permits limited commercial uses and establishes supplemental development standards that address setbacks, building height, and lighting, and includes a commitment to develop the site in accordance with the submitted site. Modifications are included to conform existing drive aisle, lighting, and interior landscaping conditions. The Columbus multimodal thoroughfare plan identifies this portion of Henderson Road as a suburban commuter corridor, requiring 120 feet of right of way. The requested CPD commercial plan development district will permit indoor and outdoor recreational uses, will allow a portion of the northern building to be demolished and replace outdoor recreational courts with a seasonal dome. The proposal is consistent with the land use and site design recommendations of the Northwest Plan and does not represent the introduction of an incompatible use surrounding neighborhood. The First City Department's recommendation is approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is this initiated by a COVID concern to get outdoors, or is it? There are different things. Okay, traffic. Oh, no, Kathy's looking at me with one thing. Kathy?
Recreation park says no comments.
You're good. Okay, traffic.
No traffic issues.
And Chris? Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding application number 8? One person. Okay. Are you opposition? You're for it. Okay, well, let's hear your, but you evidently have the area commission's approval as well as the staff's approval. So what would you like to add to what the staff had presented?
Hi, good evening. My name is Elizabeth Seedorf, and I'm with the Voorhees Law Firm, and I'm here tonight with Jason Hockstock, who's on behalf of the applicant, and my colleague Jill Tangman behind me. Just wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to speak with you tonight and for staff's recommendation for approval. I do just want to add that when the northern building, which is 4559 Knightsbridge Road, is eventually demolished, assuming zoning is approved, there are 4 existing indoor courts that are currently in that building, and once it's demolished, we're going to refurbish those courts to be outside courts, and then we want the option to erect the seasonal dome. We don't necessarily plan to do that at any point or in the near future, but just have the option to do that, so we don't have to come back and get zoning again. But just wanted to add that to you for your.
Is this still used by Ohio State tennis?
It is not.
Okay, let's have our speaker come up and add a few words, and then we'll, if needed, we'll ask you back.
it. I just want to say we're in support of this project. I want to let you know we're not always saying no. This is when the paper on it. That's what's going on. So, thank you.
You. Okay, any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Dan Lefleur,
Yes.
Ray Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Englerson.
Yes.
David Patrick.
Yes, you are approved 5-0.
Give me that motion for revised text. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Let's have a motion for the updated text. What's the date on it? 10th, got it right here. October 12th. Next. Second. All those in favor? Okay, we all already called the roll. Is it still valid?
Sure.
Okay. Like the way you think. Okay, case number 10, Z21-059, 4910 North High Street. Previous home of Jerry's Driving.
Site consists of two parcels in the R3 residential, C3 commercial, and C4 commercial districts, and is developed with a meeting and training establishment. The site is subject to the North High Street commercial community commercial overlay. The requested CPD commercial plan development district will permit a new eating and drinking establishment in subarea A and an automotive maintenance and repair facility in subarea B. North of the site is a commercial building in the C4 commercial district. South of the site is a commercial retail building in the C4 commercial district and a religious facility and single-unit dwellings in the R3 residential district. East of the site are 4-unit dwellings in the R4 residential district. West of the site is a Coda parking lot in the CPD commercial plan development district. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Clintonville neighborhood plan with parking and mixed-use land uses at this location. The site is located within the boundaries of the Clintonville Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The CPD text establishes use restrictions and supplemental development standards that address building and parking setback, traffic access, traffic improvements, internal parking circulation and design, parking lot landscaping, building design, and includes commitments to develop the site as demonstrated on the submitted site plan and landscaping plan for each sub-area. The CPD text also includes amendments to building elevations for sub-area A. Additionally, code modifications to the maneuvering, parking setback, building setbacks, parking lot and aisle location, dumpster area, primary building frontage, building entrance on the primary building, and pickup unit location are included in the text. The code CPD commercial plan development district will permit redevelopment of the site with an eating and drinking establishment in subarea A and an automotive maintenance and repair facility in subarea B. The CPD text includes appropriate use restrictions and includes commitments to develop the site in accordance with the submitted site plan, landscaping plan, and building elevation. The proposed uses are consistent with the Clintonville neighborhood plan recommendation for mixed land uses at this location. Site plan demonstrates pedestrian connectivity to each sub-area from Morris Road and includes a landscaping plan that demonstrates adequate screening and landscaping throughout both sub-areas. Additionally, traffic commitments contained within the CPD text, including traffic access to the sub-areas and additional language for improvements identified in the traffic impact study, meet the satisfaction of the Division of Traffic Management, and therefore City Department's recommendations for approval.
Okay, any questions? Recreation and Parks.
We have no additional comments.
Dan, traffic.
Traffic impact study is in progress for this application, and third submittal is under review. At this point, we've identified the improvements that would be needed for our traffic standards code. And at this point, we're assigning responsibility and determining what access configuration we can live with for this site. So there's a range of options available, and it's a matter of, as the traffic impact study is finalized, Department of Public Service, determining what within that range. So the language that's in the text right now is in general to reflect that status. It's expected that the specific improvements that will be needed will be added to that language before this goes to city.
And it'll be formalized before it gets to city council. Okay. Chris?
Planning's comments for the tracks.
I don't believe I see any human bodies in the back of the room. So,
I'm just wondering, did planning take into account that Christmas tree sales are gonna be in trouble once that goes away? People aren't gonna be able to.
well, you know, the way Chick-fil-A works, you might get, with every 50 drumsticks, you may get a Christmas tree. Christmas tree. Just
Oh, it is by
Yes.
city code.
I know, and I just was thinking if you're a presenter, you don't have to wear it, but I will. That's okay.
Hey, and I, as a former Clintonville guy, appreciate the Jerry sign standing firm. That, I think that's universal around the entire city. It was so good. Is there anything else you'd like to add to the staff's presentation?
No, my name is Rebecca Mock with the Plain Law Firm. This is Justin Lurk with Chick-fil-A, corporate office, and we're just here to answer any questions. And yes, a big significant part of the development was preserving the site, the sign, which will include the dimensions, the height, the structure, all of the original design and intent will be preserved. There
The
will
blinking neon.
Yes, there will be some LED lighting to show and create the optimization and modernization of the original intent to have that arrow, scroll and point down to the sign. So we're very happy to be preserving that sign. We know it was really important to the neighborhood, and it does offer sentimental value and nostalgic value.
Yes, there are still some old codgers that remain. Please call the roll.
Amanda Golden?
Yes.
John Anderson?
Yes.
Dan Woodway?
Yes.
Mary Conroy?
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick?
Yes, you are approved.
There's one correction in area B. It talks about the elevations and the fact that if there aren't any, this needs to be struck. Just take a look
So
at that page. I don't think you want to memorialize that, but maybe.
in our CPD text in sub-area A, we do commit to color building exterior elevations as shown on the plan that Chick-fil-A presented for the Chick-fil-A building. For the sub-area B, for Valvoline, we do not have exterior elevations committed to in the text.
Right.
Although as a courtesy, we did provide those. So there's nothing in the text, but we just say not applicable, so we could preserve the numbering in the text. Does that satisfy your concern?
Hey, there's all kinds of stuff that gets put into CPD. Thought I'd point that out to you, off the record.
Okay, thank you.
We're looking forward to stopping by and grabbing the bag.
There as well. Thank you.
You bet.
So look at page 4. D. Under sub-area D.
Right.
You're asking a question there, whatever, so.
Right, because if we remove this letter D, all of the numbering of the entire text changes, and that was the only thing we were trying to go with as a format numbering issue, but
Okay,
it's not applicable.
all right.
So that statement, are there no sub-area B elevations? It will be removed. It's just a strike. That has the NA not out.